Hello everyone, it's time to talk about Eminem's latest album, Revival. Well, this album was a complete catastrophe, but in an attempt to not do Eminem too dirty, I think I should start with some positives. I imagine I'm not the only person who feels this way when I say Eminem is the reason why I got into the rap genre personally. His albums, particularly his earlier stuff, I started with the Eminem Show and then listened to the Marshall Mathers LP. Great stuff, absolutely amazing, really did speak to me at the time. I feel like his more recent efforts have been very poor, with the exception of the fantastic Marshall Mathers LP 2, and this is really the nail in the coffin. Now, listening to the album in its entirety is a complete and utter test of patience. However, I do believe, in my opinion, there were 3 decent tracks which are worth listening to. The first one being Untouchable, which I played a sample from that in the intro. The other one being Framed, and finally Offended, but I will actually bring these back up in a moment. This album is 19 songs long, and it lasts for 1 hour and 10 minutes. 3 of these songs on the album are okay. That's 10 minutes of the album. The other hour is pretty appalling. The underlying theme for this Eminem album is for every single song to be an emotional chart topper, which fundamentally isn't a bad thing. It's just the fact that it really does get tiresome very, very quickly. I understand that Eminem has had some emotional hits in the past, things like Sing for the Moment, things like Stan, and so on. However, in this album, there are 10 songs out of the 19 songs in the album which are emotional hits. Walk on Water, Believe, River, Like Home, Bad Husband, Tragic Endings, Nowhere Fast, Need Me, In Your Head, Castle, and A Rose. And as a little bonus, 2 of the songs are interludes and intros, so they don't even count. This album is so fucking soppy. The whole thing is a fucking sop fest. I listen to Eminem to get angry. I want to fight back. I don't want to feel fucking sad. Hey Rab, don't you think he's just trying to take a different artistic direction? Don't fucking feed me that bullshit. He's trying to make money, it's a cash grab. It's no good. Every single song that he's made in the past that's been commercially successful sounds like the bullshit on this album, and it pisses me off. Now, the song in particular I want to talk about which is soppy is River featuring Ed Sheeran, and by the way, whoever paired Eminem and Ed Sheeran together, what were you thinking? During this overall very sad song about cheating and relationship issues, Eminem does find a perfect opportunity to throw in a fantastic joke that made me roll around with laughter. Just shit on my last girl because she has what my ex lacks. Wow, very funny and very, very appropriate in this song. You know, that seems to be his big problem in this album. He can't make his mind up. Does he want to be funny? Does he want to be emotional? What does he want to fucking be? Pick one or the other. Different songs. I mean, you know, you can be funny on one song and serious on another. Don't mix the two. Which leads me on to my next point. The vast majority of Eminem's quips, which are normally sharp and hitting, and they make you laugh and they make you think, wow, he just roasted them. They're not here. All of his quips now, they feel really cringy. I mean, there are so many lines on this album that are just awful. Like, how can anyone find it funny? And if they're not awful, they're immature. Yeah, but Rab, Eminem's built a career on being immature and cringy. Why do you think that makes a difference now? Because it is not funny. Now it's time to talk about the good songs on the album, which are very few and far between. Now, as far as the song Untouchable goes, it's probably, I would say, the only song on the album that I'm happy to return to. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with the message that he's trying to send on it, because I just don't know enough about it. I'm English, I haven't looked into it. I also think that the sample that he used on the album, which is Cheech and Chong's Earache My Eyes, that took me a few tries to get right, is ace. Absolutely love that. And he does hit some really nice bars. However, I'm not 100% sure about his flow on this song. His flow just doesn't quite feel right. But overall, this is the banger of the album, and I would say if you can, listen to this as a single, just avoid getting the whole thing. And now we go on to Framed, which is a song which really does lend a lot from the album Relapse, where in particular the song 3am, he's got this serial killer vibe going on like he did there. And it does work. It kind of worked in Relapse, which definitely wasn't his best album. Not as bad as this, but definitely wasn't his best album. But despite all the positives that I've just mentioned, I mean, the hook I'm just not getting that at all. He's doing this really weird holding one word for a while in a stupid voice thing, and it's not catchy, it doesn't work, so why do it? If he'd handled this a little bit better, you'd have your second banger of the album. But you don't. You've just got some pretty nice bars and a pretty awful chorus. Now, in the song Offended, Eminem does spit some venomous bars. You know, he actually goes back to what I was hearing in sort of Evil Twin from Marshall Mathers LP2. Loved that song, and you know, it's so close once again, but he does something again with the chorus where it's just out of the ordinary. It's kind of got this weird playground child vibe, and I kind of get the idea that he's trying to be immature once again, but it comes off as cringy. It doesn't work. It's horrid, to be honest with you, and it just ruins the flow of the song. Who mixed this track? It doesn't sound right. Like, all of the beats, etc. in the background, they change periodically through the track and it sounds shit. Why? Now, something that I also get is that Eminem's in the later phase of his career now, so he wants to kind of dabble in some of the more trendy types of rap because the game's changed a hell of a lot. I mean, Kendrick Lamar's come out and he has just ruled this game ever since he's come out. An example of an old artist who has managed to stay relevant with the music that he's producing now is Dr. Dre, and his release in 2015 with Compton. It's not just the album for the film, it's his own standalone album, and it plays with some of the newer rap ideas, and it does it so well. If you haven't listened to Compton, please listen to it, and I think you'll see what I mean. But Eminem tries to dabble into newer styles of rap in the song Chloroseptic, and it just doesn't sound good. Not at all. Your only featured rapper on the album, Fresher, is on this song. And, by the way, I don't understand what's going on. I remember when you used to listen to the Marshall Mathers LP, I mean, you've got like maybe one featured pop star and the rest of it is rappers. Now it's the other way around. And Fresher doesn't even rap in this song. But Eminem just doesn't seem to understand the trends of rap and how to handle it. It doesn't work with his flow. Stick to what you do best. Go back to the Marshall Mathers LP2 style. You did that a lot better there. The song I'm most conflicted with on the album has got to be Like Home with Alicia Keys, because I feel like his preachy vibe he takes with Donald Trump is so forced. It doesn't feel legitimate at all, but that fucking chorus is amazing. It sounds really, really, really good. So I've got a bit of a conflict in opinion on this one. I do love the chorus, I do hate the bars. You got to make your own mind up on that track. And Eminem, please don't auto-tune your singing in the future. It doesn't sound good. It never has sounded good. The final problem that I want to talk about on this album is not actually the biggest problem. I've been through that with all the soppy songs. That's the thing that really, really did turn me off of this album. The thing that annoys me as well is that all of the songs throughout the album which are jokey have got this underlying theme about objectifying women. I ought to say, actually, that, you know, I'm not a feminist or an SJW or anything like that, and I do not have a fundamental problem with rappers objectifying women in their songs. That is their decision. But there is zero variety to the way that Eminem does this in the album, because all he talks about is tits and ass, which is okay, but he must have mentioned tits and ass about 15 times in his bars, and it gets really fucking tiresome really fucking quick, without a shadow of a doubt. This fact is at its absolute worst in the track Remind Me, which is filled with cringy lines, not funny jokes, and it's awful. Lest we forget, that chorus, who mixed it? I mean, who mixed this? You know, it's so amateur. I think even I could probably, well, maybe I'm giving myself a bit too much credit there actually, I probably couldn't. But at the same time, it doesn't sound professional. It doesn't sound finished. I mean, let's be real here. You always talk about being a perfectionist in your albums and the music that you make, but so many of these songs sound like they could have been edited a lot better. I mean, it's not polished, man. It's not fucking polished. So there you go. My opinions on this Eminem album. Very, very, very negative. When I saw the track listing and who was featured, I did kind of make an opinion already. I don't think it actually gave me any bias when I listened to it, because I wanted to like it. It's like I say, I mean, I really enjoyed the Marshall Mathers LP too, but I can tell you one thing. I will not be returning to this album anytime soon, and it is going out of the iTunes library next chance I get. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. What are your opinions on this album? Did you like it? Nothing wrong with that, but this is Rab signing out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
I'm looking at your tight rear like a sightseer. Your booty is heavy duty, like diarrhea.